Flat Earth Debate live. I'm your host Nathan Oakley, and if you are new to this channel, or you've not done so already, then be sure to subscribe. Hit the bell notification icon and join button if you'd like to become a Nathan Oakley 1980 channel member and keep up to date with the Flat Earth Debate. If you would like to support the channel, there is a super chat that runs alongside each of these shows while they are live, and there's also a Ko-Fi, Patreon, crypto and thanks button in the info box below the video. Most importantly, if you'd like to join the discussion, simply mute the page you are currently watching, then click the link in the info box below this video to join the panel and express your views on the nature of Earth. If you do join, please don't swear. If you do, you'll be ejected, and if you are, please don't try to rejoin the stream using sock accounts. You'll be warmly welcome back on the next stream. Please also share the show on social media. Sharing the show obviously increases the live audience, but this in turn increases the chances of a more diverse panel, so please share the show on Facebook and X. Now, we are joined by Neil, Refracted Curvature, and a whole bunch of people in Discord. So welcome, one and all.
How are you?
I'm good.
Afternoon.
Hello, Sensual Goat. We've got video to cover, so we've been provided with a video by the best mod to ever grace YouTube, Divergent Droid. So we'll cover that after a couple of housekeeping questions. But it's a Neil deGrasse Tyson video about watch Neil deGrasse Tyson get pissed as host calmly reads simple facts. So that should be interesting. And by the look on his face in the opening couple of frames, I'm quite intrigued to cover this. I don't know what it is. We'll be covering it cold. It may be unrelated to the subject. It might just be a bit of a dig at Neil deGrasse Tyson, but we'll get to that shortly. In the meantime, any evidence that you can have gas pressure without a container?
No. Every demonstration, you're going to need about 5 containers.
Did you say about 5 containers?
The concept that there is a space ever expanding above our heads to give distance for storm.
Oh, we've lost John. Going on. John?
Next question.
Your sound cut out halfway through, just so you know.
Oh.
There we go. It's still there. Oh, that's completely thrown me. What we're talking about? Gas pressure without a container?
Yes.
Sorry.
That's okay. I was going to respond to something you were saying, and then you cut off halfway through, and I can't remember what I was going to respond to that was in the middle of your sentence. Anyway, let's do a different housekeeping question.
I'm sorry. Did you not hear what I said?
Say it again, because there was something I was going to respond to it with.
Right. The idea that there's an ever-expanding space above our head that gas isn't filling is only with respect to a flat plane, so that the idea is absurd on its face.
Yeah. Who'd have thought that we, in 2024, would be taking their straw man rebuttal to you can't have a gas pressure next to a vacuum with, well, we have gas pressure gradients next to a vacuum in rebuttal. And we now respond, gas pressure gradients are described from a flat plane. Their altitude is with respect to sea level. That's level. The flat Earth claim, like all of them, everything starts with measurements of a flat plane. We are so used to allowing our opponents to use just a little bit of flat Earth to start them off and then make their globe claim with that flat Earth measurement that they start with. Over the weekend, I released several videos, including the Antarctica re-up of Robert Shortman, Antonio Subratz, and myself discussing Robert's time down in Antarctica. And also, I released a video called Globe Earth Measured Flat. Now, that video has one of our opponents from the politics server on Thursday of last week getting quite irate when he measures Earth flat to move forward with his globe claim. And when we reiterate the words he's using, he indignantly responds, well, of course it's flat, for his globe head belief. But that's the only bit that's being measured. There's plenty of excuses after the fact for why it isn't being measured globe-shaped. and how we can extrapolate out those flat measurements into a globe religion. But in reality, us, that's flat earthers, and them, that's globe believers, measure Earth flat. And maybe with a few more examples of our opponents actually doing it in debate, which has been happening for 10 years, by the way, we just never noticed. But now we're stopping them at the point they measure Earth flat and reiterating to them their own words when they measure Earth flat, which we all do. There won't be any exceptions to this rule. If you can just get your head around the fact Earth is measured flat, you can start holding your opponents on the globe side to task for that fact that they will use. You just need to know it as a fact. The problem is most of the people on the flat Earth side currently in this discussion don't know Earth is flat. They don't know it yet. They believe it.
Did you say you made a video entitled Globe Earth Measured Flat?
Yes, 2 separate titles, full stop after each statement. Separate words, separate lines, not the same sentence, not the globe Earth is measured flat, because that's a contradiction in terms. My statement is globe Earth, pause for dramatic effect, measured flat. When I was writing that title, I knew this would come up.
You want to spin it.
I knew this would happen. I told Neil off for saying the globe is measured flat, and I said, no, you can get away with that in poetry. You can get away with it on a thumbnail tile. Oh, I didn't say that, but I'm going to alter history right here, right now. I'm sure I said poetry and thumbnail title, Neil, didn't I? I'm sure I did.
Well, listen, it is what it is.
Look, I'm sure somewhere Brian's listening to this going, where's the join link? I'm going to go and have him over a barrel on this. He told me he'll off and now he's using it as a thumbnail tile.
Oh, you know he's going to come in and give you a hard time about it.
There's artistic license in clickbait thumbnail titles, right? There's artistic license, poetic license in poetry. But just when you make a statement, just as a sentence, saying the globe Earth is measured flat, no, you have to give it a little bit more padding. The idea that we live on a globe has come from flat Earth measurements. Now, don't get me wrong, this is precisely, it's going to piss Brian off royally, what Brian has been putting to me for the last 2 weeks. Now, you can't just say Earth is measured flat, it needs a little bit more padding. No, it doesn't, is my attitude. But then when Neil says the globe Earth is measured flat, I'm like, that needs more padding. Can't just say that, because it's not true. You can't measure a globe flat. There is no flatness to a globe. So it's a contradiction in terms, by contrast to saying Earth is measured flat, which is just a simple statement of fact.
Right. The statement is not the Earth is measurement flat. Why is the argument with measurement when the statement is the Earth is measured flat?
The real statement is Earth is flat. That's the real statement. But it's lost its pizzazz over the last 10 years of us discussing it for some reason. In some corners of the flat Earth discussion, it's dirty to say Earth is flat in such simplistic terms. I don't understand it. But it is. That's the fact of the matter. Earth is flat. How do you know? Well, that's how it's measured. Earth is measured flat.
In that statement, Earth is flat. Flat is a description. In the statement, Earth is measured flat. Flat is changing or modifying measurement and giving a qualification of what measurement you will be doing.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, is there anything else that's been discussed over the weekend? Oh, I could just plug the other video at disposal other than the Antarctic one. And
I got a message from QE.
Oh, really? Yeah, what's that?
He said things seem to be settling down. Maybe a show on Tuesday.
Happy joy. Well, that's good to hear. Very good to hear. I sent him a message and he just ignored me. But there we go. Maybe he didn't. I haven't checked my Skype today. Maybe he contacted me overnight. I doubt it. Should we do another housekeeping question? Any more news updates over the last 3 or 4 days? No, I'll do a plug for the other video. So I also did a video called Karen Finds Out Earth is Measured Flat. Again, from the visit to the politics server. So those came out over the weekend along with accompanying shorts videos that are, the clip of that 10, 15, 20 minute video, whatever it is. So there's sort of several shorts videos, several short intro / I don't know what they call them now, trailers, that's right. They're less than 3 minutes, and they're basically just designed to sum up what is a 10 or 15 or 20 minute video, so that when it's sat waiting to premiere, you get a little trailer. So I've also released those. So just by chance, there's been a whole bunch of videos, maybe 6 or 8 videos that were released over the weekend. Karen Finds Out Earth is Flat, the final experiment, 18 months in Antarctica, along with its accompanying videos like No 24-Hour Sun in Antarctica, or No Midnight Sun in Antarctica, which are the shorts videos and trailer that went along with that. And then the one we were just discussing, Globe Earth Measured Flat, which is the irate globe believer going, well, of course it's flat, which was very entertaining indeed. The typical video that would have been released over the weekend anyway, which was like the best of uncut and after shows, but on the main channel, which was the Eddie Bravo, Alex Jones, and Dave Weiss video. And that's pretty much it. So there's been so many videos released over the weekend. If you want to check out the Nathan Oakley 1980 channel, the one you're watching on now if you're watching live. And there was another one as well, like the shorts video that went with that one, Globe Head Measured Earth Flat. That's the short vision, maybe 2-minute video that went along with the Globe Earth Measured Flat long video. So yeah, easily half a dozen, maybe more videos that came out over the weekend. Some short, some long, all took a whole bucket load of work to produce. So they're all very heavily edited to make them nice and flow well. So there you go, check them out. Anything else anybody wants to plug before we get into the video?
I have an issue with the 24-hour video. Antarctic. The sound was horrible.
What do you want? It was 10 years ago. Before I e-begged my way to having acoustic treatment everywhere, I now sit in a room that's like 25 dBA noise floor, and there is no echo in this room. I mean, there is if I talk, as I sometimes do when I'm looking around for something, at my radiator, because it's an exposed surface. Now, that's really fussy. But, you'd have to be a trained sound professional to hear that in the recording. I can hear it, but 99% of the audience just hear a reasonable recording these days. Back then, you hear the room. And that's a before and after that you can, if you were ever thinking, is it actually worth spending, don't get me wrong, it's thousands of pounds to acoustically treat a room fully, but is it worth it? Well, just listen to that and then listen to how it sounds now and answer that question. Is it worth acoustically treating your room? Yes, absolutely, without question. Everybody who's got a YouTube channel should do it.
Chocolate's here. Hey, Chocolate.
Shout out to Dazza. Dazza888 says, love the short videos. Thanks, Nathan. Is that the guy? Is that the globe head? Is Dazza888 a different globe head? Because we had a Dazza from the Discord server. Surely it's not the same person. He wouldn't be thanking me for the short videos, would he? But thank you, Dazza, for the super chat. People keep... I occasionally say, oh, I've got a load of messages about this week. The messages I get at the moment are, Dazza is Ruhif. There's no doubt in my mind. I've got several messages from people who think it's really important that I know that they believe that the Dazza guy that we were talking to a couple of weeks ago in the Discord server from politics is Ruhif. I'm like, it doesn't matter either way. We assessed it the first time someone contacted me about it, and I think Adam and you, John, both said, no, it doesn't seem as smart as Ruhif, the Dazza guy, which I'm inclined to agree with. I think from my interactions, maybe it's nostalgic in my memory of interactions with Rufy, because I don't interact off the show. When people like Ruhif email me, I just ignore them. I'm not interested in doing anything outside of the show. If I'm not earning money from it, I might sound mercenary, but this is a job. And if I'm not editing videos and I'm spending that time responding to people's emails about their issues with an angle or something, I'm like, no, I haven't got time for this. I literally don't have time for it. But when Ruhif did interact, he struck me as more intelligent than that Dazza guy. If you still agree with that, John.
I don't know. I'm tired of giving people the benefit of the doubt of they're being too smart for that. Ruhif, I don't see he would do any better in that situation. Really, I don't. I don't think any globe believer can. Like Dazzler did is about as good as you're going to. It was pathetic.
Well, I don't care. That's my point of this is it doesn't matter who he is. Yeah? If he turned out to be Abraham Lincoln, it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, you're right, because at the end he'll say, "You are a horrible person."
That's what he did
but
say.
what if that was Brian Cox? What if it was Brian Cox? Would it matter then?
No, wouldn't make any difference. In the same way, typically none of us are disclosing our credentials or lack thereof when we make our arguments. And when our opponents come along and say, "Do you know who I am?" No, it don't matter. Just make your argument, and if it wins, it wins.
Can I get a mic check?
Yes,
What's up,
Chocolate. Very good. Was it just the mic check?
Right.
Or did you have some happy joy to spread with this chocolate?
I'm not saying that it would matter to you, Nathan, but do you think it would matter to 95% of the Western world if Brian Cox did as horribly as Dazzler?
Yeah, there's your problem, you see. Not only does it not matter to me if it was Brian Cox, the perception of others caring if it is or isn't Cox, that also doesn't, I don't care about that either, so it's a really hard question to answer. I don't care if other people cared if it was Brian Cox. Maybe you could try and phrase it one more time.
That's not what I'm
saying. Hold on, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that no other globe believer will do as well or are going to do any better than Dazzler. It's a gambit they cannot win. So when it finally does come to Brian Cox, will it matter to 95% of the world that he is embarrassed?
If at the end Brian Cox says, "You are the most horrible person I've ever spoken to," yes, it would matter, because he's admitting defeat or showing defeat.
I still don't understand the question.
I don't understand what we're talking about.
I don't.
What's up, guys?
Yeah,
How you guys doing? Everybody all right? Good? What's up?
Sky.
I'm not saying would it matter to you. Would it matter to 95% of the Western world if one of their heliocentric priests did as badly as Dazzler?
Yes, I think it would matter to them if one of their priests, like Tyson or Cox, did as badly as Dazzler. I do think it would matter to them. Is that what you were fishing for me to say?
Debate it. That's why Neil deGrasse, Smoking the Grass, won't debate it. Brian Cox won't debate it. They'll talk about it in their little interviews on Big Think and all that crap, but they're not going to actually debate it.
Hold
I said it before. It's
Right,
the people that take on this mission that they feel they're the ones who have to defend this shit. They're the ones who get stuck with audio clips saying, "Well, of course it's flat," because I heard that one.
Let's see. That's the thing. That's the thing. Like I said, if a reporter decided to even just pick this up for a second and aim it at one of them, they will not do any better than Dazzler did.
Yes, I agree with that too.
No,
That's as good as it can get. Dazzler did better than most would because he's employing a few tactics of rumpusing and trying to cut off the conclusion so it's less devastating. He's softening the blow in his tactics, but that's as good as you can hope for. I'm not going to win.
Can I just say, in the time that I wasn't coming on here, I did hear the. Obviously, I missed a lot. I'm trying to catch up, but I heard the Timmy. I heard when Timmy came back here. Can I just say that was probably one of the funniest episodes I've ever heard. Not like I was mad that I wasn't here for that, because I almost felt bad for him.
Yeah, that's the sentiment here. It's depressing. Well, you say it was amusing. It was depressing.
It was what?
Depressing how the mighty have fallen.
Yeah, I was like, did Timmy just reach Brenda status? Like, maybe worse a little bit? I don't. I was just like, what the hell's going on? What was that one that he said that had me on the floor? It was like, you told him something like, you're presenting these these pictures that are supposed to prove sphere. And he's like, yeah. And you're like, there's no sphere in these pictures. He's like, and it's just like, what? What? I don't know. I don't know what's happened to him. I think this has
Let me just
gotten
expand
to
on
a
that for
point
the
where
audience.
it's really,
just so that
it's
they
really
understand what
hurting.
you're talking about, Chocolate. Let me just
Sorry,
expand on what you're saying. So there's a point in the discussion where Tim has had to relinquish the argument that goes along a picture of 4 or 5 horizons that is superimposed on top of one another for the various altitudes of the pictures that he's taken, and he's got them labelled with flat Earth heights. 5 foot, 10 foot, 25 foot, yeah, off a flat plane. And we're explaining that the mathematics for his pictures uses a differential between eye level and surface level, and in his maths he's using the height in terms of his elevation with respect to sea level, and the differential calculations being functionally put into effect with lake level, all of which are level. Now at that point he has to relinquish his own argument and has no maths to lean on because they're flat Earth maths. So then he just starts leaning on the picture itself. Well, this picture just proves Earth's a sphere. Now, you've then got to take it back to brass tacks, base level, whatever you want to call it, the simple claim that he's making at face value, which is a picture of some horizons and his words that this proves sphere. And that's where Chocolate came in with it. I'm putting back to him, there are no spheres in this picture. It's 4 straight lines. And what do you then say if you've got no maths to put alongside it? Go on, Chocolate. That's it.
And he was like, and? Oh my God, it was too funny. He even brought what was it he said? The localized plane, that's what he called it. And then later John was like, bro, you called it a localized plane yourself. You know what a plane is? Like, you're literally coming in asking us, how does a flat Earth work on a flat Earth? I was dying. That shit was too funny.
Yeah, the best bit of it was because he has a good or a reasonably good comprehension of how his own maths works. Yeah, he can comprehend what we're putting to him when we show him how it works. Surface level, eye level, the differential between the two. He understood it. And then, I can't remember what he said, but there was a particular sentence where he's basically acknowledging the phraseology that John refracted curvature uses, which is to say it's the flat plane obscuring your view. And he conceded to that because that is what the maths does. And because he's got, like I say, a reasonably good understanding of what the maths is doing, he can concede and agree, yeah, it's the flat surface level blocking the boats in the distance and that. You're like, so it's the flat plane blocking stuff. No.
Yeah, how does that work on flat Earth?
Yeah, how does that work on a flat Earth? Exactly. How does the flat plane blocking stuff in my maths when I measure a flat plane called surface level? How does that work on a flat Earth?
It's called flat blockage.
Yeah, that's the point where you just say, well, thank you for conceding what you thought was an argument.
Yeah, thanks. I think there's that they don't like that we've reached that thanks point because they're making our point, like Home Slice, who was like, oh yeah, we measure it flat. Of course it's flat. I think it was from where was it from? Politics or something. That little short you made, that was hilarious. He's sitting there like, yeah, it's flat. Yeah, thanks. No. They get mad that we're like thanking them for making our argument for us. Yeah, we appreciate that.
Well, they've done that with everything. If you look at them, what they claim with eclipses, right? They're claiming that the angle of the sun is being obstructed by the Earth and its angle to the moon. What's the problem with that?
You end up with I've got it as one of my pictures that comes up where you've got a penny, like the shape of a penny shadow across the moon. It's like a strip. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, but is that our claim? Are we claiming
it's their claim?
Spirit?
It's their claim. Their description is of the equatorial plane blocking the light from the moon in an orbital motion, which means that their claim is that you'd have a flat pizza pie obstruction to the moon based on their angular description from a flat plane, with the equatorial plane being the plane that's obscuring the moon, right? That's what they're actually describing. But they put that back at us. It's another example like with edges, when they've got boats falling over the Earth curve edge at the horizon. Well, they ask us, where's your edge? A boat's falling over it? Well, this is the same when they say, well, your eclipse for a flat Earth would be a pizza pie eclipse that shows a straight line across the circular moon. No, that's the actual description, mathematically speaking, of what you achieve when you describe an eclipse with the angular descriptions in the celestial sphere of a flat plane. And that is the globe model. So their eclipse is a straight line across the moon, isn't it?
It's called the minus sign eclipse.
There you go, minus
that's
sign.
actually their claim that they're debunking. They're debunking the celestial sphere, and they don't even realize it. They think they're debunking the flat plane that describes the celestial sphere. But even better with like the Earth curve edge. It's never Earth curve. You got to remember that. So where is your edge, flat earther? Why is it the ocean's falling off of it? Because my flat edge is blocking objects in the distance.
I mean, they could go ask Ruhif about that. Isn't that how he defined the horizon? As the edge of the sphere?
That's what
somebody's caught up.
That's what it is in their maths. It's the edge of the sphere.
Yeah, but he's the first that I've heard that's actually phrased it in that way as a definition of the horizon. Which when I heard that, I was kind of impressed, because I was like, when we first started calling it the edge of your sphere, they started, you stupid flat earthers. Spheres don't have an edge.
Right.
Okay.
Hold on. Because in their math,
It's just
surface
Chocolate's
level
causing
is
a bit of echo.
obstructing things.
Just be aware of it. When Chocolate's got his mic open, if you talk over him, you are going to echo. But he's not. He's vigilant. He's got his mic closed now. Go ahead, John.
Right, but in their mathematics, it's not their Earth curve blocking things; it's surface level blocking things.
That's what Timmy conceded to, didn't he?
Yeah.
Tomato. That's the okie doke right there. That they're in their maths that they want to use to defend this model. It's a flat plane, but they have to express it as no, this is a sphere. This works better that way.
Yeah, I said at the beginning of the live show and in the pre-show, that's what I want people to start understanding in 2024. They, globeheads, are using a flat Earth measurement to make their globe claim, and if you can catch it, you can stop it in its tracks and use their argument for how Earth is measured to prove it's measured flat for them in their argument. Now, you don't have to make a single claim when they're claiming. In this instance, what was the most recent one that we were talking about? Oh yeah, Earth curve maths. The horizontal plane of reference called surface level in the maths causes an obstruction below surface level. That's the actual argument they're putting to you. If you understand that, you understand that you need a surface level to make the Earth curve claim. Surface level will be measured. It's flat for them to make their Earth curve claim. There's your Earth curve evidence. What about if they tell you level is curving? Why is it parallel with eye level in your maths then? That makes no sense. You need a flat Earth to measure to make your Earth curve claim, and it is a level surface having no part higher or lower than the other. Not comporting to the surface of a sphere, or you wouldn't be able to describe the deviation from the level.
Sounds like something else that they might need to get straight between each other. Because how are some of you saying that level is curved, and then others are telling us that it's measured flat? There seems to be a problem. Houston, somebody call Houston. We have a problem, because the same side can't be saying that level is curved and also it's measured flat. Can't do that.
They have to though. There's no way around it. They have to. It's the foundation of their religion is the flat Earth, but they believe it's a sphere, so they have to exist in that contradiction, and it's painful when you force them to.
Maybe why they're a little extra mad at us lately. Share your pain, guys. It's okay.
Right. Well, before it was, we were the idiots who believed it was flat. Right. Right.
Yeah.
Because they needed that scapegoat. They need the scapegoat for their measurements. So, oh, look at this idiot. He believes it's flat. Now, we'll use these flat measurements to prove it's a sphere over here, and we can believe it's a sphere. That guy over there is an idiot. Don't look at him.
And then slowly it leaked into local flatness. Not for some reason, not understanding there are no flat spots on a sphere. But right here is flat. Locally flat.
Yeah, the bit
That's
we
what they
measure.
need to say.
The bit we measure is flat. So when they're saying things like locally flat, what they mean is we need to first step of our claim that it's a globe, measure Earth, and it will be flat. That's what they all have been doing for 10 years of debate. Just using a bit of flat Earth to get them going.
Just a little bit of flat, that's all I need.
Yeah, but that's illegal. There are no flat surfaces on a sphere. Sorry.
No, but they're using the Earth as it actually presents itself, as a flat plane of reference that they'll reference and measure, to then use the mathematics of things like resolution loss, in the case of Earth curve calculations, formerly used to calculate positions at sea where the horizon would be. And we can show in books from the 1800s how it was originally used. Now it's got a different title, Earth curve calculations. That's it.
Oh, so they could use they could use how the Earth represents itself or presents itself in their math, and that's cool. But when I say that the Earth presents itself as flat, stationary, to me, to my senses, I'm crazy. When their senses are telling them the same thing,
And they're measuring it.
and they're measuring it. Thanks.
Well, that's why Nathan pointed out to them. They actually using the Earth flat because Earth is flat.
It's too much for some flat earthers, but the more globe believers come before us and start putting their typical arguments, and we start showing them how their argument starts with a flat plane of reference, like with altitudes. Yeah, altitudes off surface level, sea level. That's how it's referenced. You're going to need a flat earth to start your process here. If you're starting with differences between this mountain and that mountain, and you've got the heights of the mountains to compare in your maths for how curved the variant's going to be when you look at one from the other, then the heights themselves have come from surface level. It's level. That's the heights. That's it. That's the starting point for your globe argument, where you can, do a bit of smoke and mirrors magic with a few calculations and show the difference. For stuff that's got smaller in the distance because of perspective is actually because of Earth curve, with some magical maths. No, the heights came from a flat Earth, though, didn't they? Now, the more flatties hear this and start realising, the starting point of their argument to start dancing around with all these maths that I've not learned, because most of the people in this argument haven't learnt it for 10 years like we have. They don't know how the intricacies of globe Earth maths work, and you don't need to. You just need to hear things like, well, if I'm at a mountain and I'm 500 feet up it, or I'm on the deck and I'm at the sea and I'm a metre above it, or I'm 6 feet above it, yeah? What happens to this mountain in the distance that's 3,000 feet high? Yeah, as soon as you start hearing height measurements, say, you'll need a height off a flat surface, they're all referenced to sea level. So we need a bit of flat Earth measurement before we do any of this. You don't need to do any of the arguments within Earth curve maths once you understand that. So the fact that we've got flatties objecting to us pointing out that Earth is measured flat for everyone seems a bit strange, because once you understand it, it is the end of the argument, because they have been measuring it. This will be the tipping point where you go, what is it that can take an entire Western world from believing they're on a spherical surface to knowing and being able to say, we already knew this? What is that linchpin? What is that thing that would allow the entire Western world to go, we knew that already? Well, this is it. All globe claims come from an origin of a measurement of Earth. And it's flat. Now, given that that is the process, and it's very well documented, if you want to look into how the globe Earth is claimed to exist, you will find the flat Earth measurements that are at its heart, therefore giving everyone who has believed in it up until now an excuse to say, oh, I knew that already. Yeah, I mean, I don't actually believe we're standing on a sphere. I mean, I understand that's a conceptualization. They can use some complicated word to justify what they obviously already knew in terms of how it's measured. Flat, like the maps.
But this
Go chocolate.
so
Go.
big.
Go on, chocolate. You got your mic open, but you're not saying anything now.
Are you going to go, chocolate?
I think we lost him.
Oh man, I like chocolate. He's my favorite he's my favorite panel member, Neil. But the thing is, even in their calculations, Earth's flat. So the measurements are flat, the calculations are flat, but somehow it's a globe.
You have chocolate as your favourite.
You don't really need to get in.
Like saying Wolverine's my favourite. It's like, oh, how original.
Exactly. See, but they're not catching on to that. When you point out, when you talk about the heights of mountains and elevation, I don't know if they're deliberately not catching on or they're playing stupid, but if you listen back, they don't grasp it.
Just like I said to Jesse, Path of Light, yeah, those two mountains, the only thing they have in common is the baseline.
Yep.
Yeah, they share the same surface level for the height to be established.
Exactly.
Didn't like that.
No, they've got to start with a flat Earth extrapolation in terms of the heights that they're going to put into their calculations that say that perspective is Earth curve. You're going to start with a flat Earth measurement of the heights, though, aren't you? I'm done. No, we must use these flat Earth height measurements to show you how spherical it is. Nah. They need to.
Nathan, maybe we need to start pointing out for them to do it on a ball. You know what I'm saying? If they're not going to understand they're using flat Earth measurements, then give it to me from a ball.
You can't, Neil. You can't.
I know that.
Altitude is with respect to sea level. It'll never be sea curve.
That's what the Karen did. That's what that Karen did. Oh, well, we can use flat Earth elevations for globe and flat, so it doesn't make any difference. No. We will use them flat because they are flat. You will use them flat to make your globe claim. That doesn't make it okay. It just means that you will start with a flat Earth measurement to start making your globe claim, and just saying that makes everything cool because we use flat Earth measurements too. No, that just proves we're measuring an Earth that's flat. Both of us. You and me. You on the globe, me on the flat side. We're both measuring it flat. That's what it actually means.
And that was when she was like, "Oh, I wasn't trying to win. I'm cooking."
That was hysterical when Nathan went into that. Okay, I'll give you a call, boys. I was cracking up.
My Dame Edna Everett's voice.
You know, she was casually making dinner, thinking she could just prove her globe. That the flat measurements that Nathan was just talking about proves her globe as well, while making dinner.
It's the Bev defense. I wasn't even trying to debate. I was having a poo.
Right. I will, my argument is I'm not trying to argue. See?
My argument is you just made my argument for me.
No, I make more money than you.
You're very nasty and rude and aggressive. Those were the rebuttals, by the way, in case you didn't figure that out. You can check that out on Karen Finds Out Earth is Measured Flat, one of the many, many videos that I released over the weekend. Should we do this Neil deGrasse Tyson video?
Yes, please.
Right, let's see what...
deGrasse.
Yeah, see what he's got to say.
Are so massive. On average, again, I've seen the pictures of you as a Let's go to scientist Neil deGrasse Tyson, who had something interesting to say about how men and women competition could change in, say, 100 years.
It is a little weird that we split people by male and female in this way. I'm imagining 100 years.
Of all the things that it could be covering, this kind of pop culture isn't really for this show, but oh well, let's just listen anyway.
So now looking back and say, do you know, back 100 years ago, they split boys and girls and they couldn't compete. And I was like, that'd just be kind of a little weird.
I don't know, Neil, because
I can imagine thinking how weird that is.
I could imagine that too. But the differences are so massive. On average, again, I've seen the pictures of you as a college wrestler.
Listen to me.
But the average woman is not.
Okay, so the getting annoyed bit is the main focus of this. I don't really understand why this would get someone like Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's what, an astrophysicist? The gender debate? Why would this get him so angry? Is it really because he's just a pop culture personality and not an astrophysicist?
I think one of the reasons that this is sort of relevant is the fact that, right, because he's supposedly this science communicator that goes around the world teaching people about the globe, right? But lately, within this particular discussion, right, he's losing a lot of credibility in the mainstream narrative, right? In the mainstream world. Well, maybe not mainstream, but like the normal world is looking at him like, bro, you're supposed to be like this super smart astrophysicist, and now all of a sudden you can't, as a supposed scientist, you can't distinguish between a man and a woman. And this is becoming problematic for a lot of people. And they're like, so he in his little world is losing a lot of credibility on this. And it's because of this, because he's pushing back on it. He's like arguing with people when people are looking to him, right? The same way they look to him to talk about all these, how he describes the globe and his dropping the mic and all this crap he does, right? They're looking to him for that same type of normalcy. Like, all right, this is a scientist saying, look, this is the difference between a man and a woman, and we can distinguish that, and everything else is whatever. But he's not doing that. He's falling completely in line with whatever agenda has to be put out there, that there's no such thing as men and women. You could just do what you want. I could be a cat if I want to be a cat, right? And he's all with it. So he's losing a lot of credibility, I guess.
Gotcha.
Right, but he's not a biologist.
No, he's not a scientist.
Why is he discussing biology?
He's got as much to offer in that arena as he has in terms of what the sky is, which is basically nothing. But in terms of him towing the line with heliocentric garbage, he will. But because it's unverifiable by the audience that's hearing it, it's just, wow, isn't that amazing when he talks in the way he does in the romantic jargon about the sky as he describes it, then that's just falling in line with part of the religion that we can't experience. We're not going to the place he's describing, and that's just the description that's beyond our comprehension, and isn't it amazing? But when it's something that people definitely can comprehend, him just towing the line of the mainstream, which is what he's doing with heliocentrism also, is much more stark. Suddenly he's pseudoscience, which is no different. It's still just the same pseudoscience as he's parroting with heliocentrism. There's no validation to what he's claiming in that arena, or this. But it's much more obvious, is what you're saying. Suddenly people are like, hang on, I could swallow this when it was something I couldn't verify, but I'm looking, I understood that to just be true based on what you told me. Now I know something isn't true, and you're not telling me it isn't true. You're agreeing with the nonsense. What's going on?
Exactly what I was trying to say. Yep. People are like, wait a minute, these are things that are verified, that we can verify. It's not just some fantastical story about some light in the sky telling us what the hell's going on inside the light in the sky that's supposedly so far away. None of that. This is just actual facts, right? Biology, just normal, what we know, and you can't agree with that. And because of that, he's losing a lot of credibility. So I love it, because personally, I can't stand this guy. He's freaking. Anyway, yeah.
I like him. I don't know. I like Neil deGrasse Tyson.
I used to. It's just that now I I used to do because I watched the Cosmo show that he had a while ago. The one that supposedly came after what Carl Sagan did the first one, right? And then he had one that came out, I don't know, a decade ago or something like that. And I mean, it was cool, but I don't know. Now I can't stomach him.
He's
But yeah,
Sagan's,
that's
Well, he's being
Sagan's
challenged on his,
protege.
he's being challenged on his beliefs, right? He's never been challenged on what he knows. He's just being challenged on his beliefs, and he's reacting like anybody else is being challenged on their beliefs.
Not going to be able to take the average woman wrestler is not going to be able to take down you when you were in your peak.
Okay,
Maybe the
Michael,
best female.
You sound like you're an old man on the porch in a rocking chair right now. I'm telling
No.
you.
Okay.
I'm telling you, you are criticizing something that is in need of modification.
nice ad hom.
What? What? I can see why people would react badly to this. Obviously, it's getting trimmed out.
Sage, watching Neil deGrasse Tyson go woke, I mean, we watch a certain set of people go woke, but it's just so dismissive. And also the way he dismissed my friend Michael Shermer there, as if he's just, in essence, you're an old white guy, like kind of sit this one out.
I totally agree with this beautiful young lady who's speaking.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the only way in 100 years we would look back and think it's archaic to have boys and girls competing separately is if we've drugged all of the girls, basically.
That's right, madam. Completely agree. These two gentlemen to your side of you, fine-looking fellows they are.
That doesn't seem like a good outcome.
Although, goodness gracious, at this point, I'm fearful that somebody might think that that's a good idea. It's just so disappointing because
when he's talking about fourth-dimensional space-time bending, I mean, we can't verify and it's very fantastical and we can just nod along quite happily. But when he talks about stuff we fundamentally know isn't true, it's a lot more difficult to digest and we just expected better from this pseudoscientist. He says nobody because they don't realise that it's pseudoscience. Every word that comes out of his mouth, including this. Well, there we go.
these people are too smart to even
Don't call them these people. That's very racist.
believe what they're saying. Like, they must be getting checks from somebody to say that crap.
You see, the average normie is a conspiratard. He's saying something I don't like, he must be a paid shill. Yeah? Yeah, we deal with that too. It's amazing how parallel normies run with outside groups in terms of how they behave. This person's not saying something I like, they must be a paid shill.
Yep, you just got thrown in under the same bus, huh?
Because
Sorry,
they
Neil.
know that it's a lie. And it is, I mean, I guess we just have to chalk it up to going woke. And I do kind of liken it.
Yeah, we can put it in these simple terms. He's gone woke. No, he's a pseudoscientist, and this is pseudoscience. It's just typically, you don't think to question the pseudoscience he usually comes out with, but now you're acutely aware of something that you don't agree with. What's the result? We can chalk it up to just going woke and claim he's a paid chill. But perfectly logical, perfectly reasonable. What the hell? Normie society is hilarious. It's projection. The amount of times that I've said this. Right, I'll give you an example in our arena. Conspiracy cats. Right? That's the title of a globehead normie. What does that tell you? It tells you that, like this lady, let's stop with the gender misidentification for humorous effect, and just say this lady is like all of the people who oppose us. In their reality, they're conspiratorial. Yeah? They want to fantasize about the Illuminati and paid shillery. Yeah? That's what people, normies, want. They're the conspiratards. So, because that's how normies are, you've got to really turn it up. You've got to ham it up as much as possible when you're strawmanning your opponent as being a conspiratard. And you've got to set up little paths and routes to a subject you want ridiculed, so that the most conspiratorial people, even more conspiratorial than the norm, which is this, find their way to the subject. Man, the efforts they've gone to suppress flat Earth in terms of how they've got the people to eventually come across the subject, and who will be the group of people that come across it. You've got to out-conspiratard the norm, and this is the norm. He's saying something I don't agree with, must be a paid shill.
Right, but what did she say before that? He is too smart. He is my authority. I look up to him. The emperor can't be naked. These people saying he's naked have to be paid shills.
And this is just one example. Like, this is I've brought it up before because this is becoming a thing with this guy every time he speaks lately, on this particular topic. He just ends up doing what he's doing, which is kind of just ad homing people, just trying to come off like what he's saying is the authority because he truly believes he's got the authority to do it. And in the heliocentric nonsense, he does, right? He's a science communicator, whatever the hell, astrophysicist. So yeah, that's what he's doing. But falling out of favor with the normie world.
Right, but the assumption that he is paid to do it, right? The assumption that he's paid to do it is because they're not wanting to reflect on the authority that they have given him. So the only other option is that he must be paid because he can't just be wrong. He can't just be wrong. That can't happen.
Yeah, in other words, you can apply the same logic to anything he says, but it's only when there's something that's disagreeable that they start applying that logic, because he can't just be Neil deGrasse Tyson, my authority figure, incorrect. He's Neil deGrasse Tyson, my authority figure, who's been coerced with money.
Right? And when everybody was saying, no, just do this and trust, and we went like sheep. And so I think with this, it's actually probably even more obvious. And people are like, no, we're gonna stop on this. I live right next door. The neighbor.
If she was connecting that to what he typically says, then she's saying what we're saying. She just hasn't necessarily connected it to his usual rhetoric. That's all. That's the only difference between Sharp Cookie. She seems like, I've never seen this woman. I don't know who she is, but based on what she just said, she's saying maybe we should assess this more. This is nonsense. If I'm slightly lost for words. Chocolate, I can put this to you. This could be a little linchpin moment if suddenly the authorities fall in line with the woke garbage that is so overtly wrong. It makes people question other things that they have typically accepted as true from their authority figures. This could be a little linchpin moment because of the woke garbage, or what is it that we're covering? Gender, right?
Yeah. like I said, I've brought it up before because to me it seems significant. Because when I hear people that that this is one of those people who have crowds of people oohing and eyeing at him, right? Every time he's still sitting there telling a story, or he's there with his boy in the Star Talk show, and everybody loves him when he's talking about space and black holes and all these things that he can't really know anything about. Right? But then when he's talking about something that we all know about, and now he's going in a direction that it just seems against just facts, now it's becoming a problem. And he's not the only one. There are a few of them out there doing it. But even within his own circles, he's losing credibility. And to me, that's significant. Even though, he's really a nobody. But in this world, he is a somebody. So,
Johnny,
okay,
right.
that's what you are saying.
You take the erosion.
Oh, he's not. He's just interrupting you. Go ahead, Johnny.
My microphone is not far because there's on the Bluetooth. But anyways, that I will say, he is selling fantasy and illusion, just like the illusion of the Colorado. Colorado is not a force, but it has to be made a force in this world and the world around him. That is illusion from the beginning. So he is selling fantasy and making illusion of something real. That's what they are doing.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
neighboring town here is the town where Chelsea Mitchell is from. And I know Riley knows Chelsea. I think
Well, I
she's
see
one of
that.
the first young women who was really out in the forefront fighting. And she's a young track star from small town Connecticut. My daughter competed with her, I should say, on the same team in high school. And I feel like that's one of the first cases that went really national. And she lost in Connecticut, lying through their teeth. What I don't, not going to compete. We've seen it start the parents to stand to make such difficult decisions when their dreams are right here. Riley experienced that. I know Riley said in the past that she kind of has guilt. Here's the science, guys. Shouldn't have been left difficult decisions when their dreams are right here. Riley experienced that. I know Riley said in the past that she kind of has guilt from that national championship for competing, right? But that shouldn't have been left up to Riley. That needs to be left up to the adults to say, hell no, we're not doing this. Here's the science, guys.
Interesting ending to it. I mean, it was only a very short video, which is good because we're about to round out this live show shortly. But yeah, very interesting. Thank you, Divergent Droid, for sharing that with us. Maybe I should actually do the usual thing. So please let this, it's the Rubin Report, know that we have covered their video. So I'm going to put a live stream link in the chat right now, as we are still currently live. So you'll see it whizzing its way by. While we are still live, or if we do round out in the next few moments, please let the Rubin Report know at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and the usual blurb. We do this so that, number one, they know that we've actually covered and responded to their video, but secondly, so that if they were to respond to us, they would put a link to our video. The reason being, YouTube offer us absolutely no algorithmic love whatsoever, and obviously, despite us only having a meager audience, we'll happily send it to the Rubin Report to bolster them in the YouTube algorithm, give them some likes, give them some comments, specifically saying at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, so that they're aware that we've covered their video and had our 2 pennyworth to add to the discussion in this regard. Now, the round out point in regards to her appeal to science is the same as our critique in the body of this particular exercise, which is to say, the science he typically puts out to you is also pseudoscience. And we, like you are now talking about with gender, say, give us the science, Tyson. But while we're saying it, you're nodding along to the pseudo-Riemannian fourth-dimensional bent space-time that he'd be purveying in his Star Talk videos, while you nod, because you think that is science. But now it's overtly obvious that he's talking rubbish. You want the science? I would perhaps speculate that you don't necessarily know what science is either, but that's a different story. Adam's joining,
which is scary. I will say it's scary.
Sorry.
I'll just do the end of that plug call to action before you respond. So please let the I forgot the name of the bloody show already. The Rubin Report. No, at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, as I say, I will stick a couple of links for the YouTube live stream that are watching live as we speak to go to, or if you're watching after the fact, you can just bring up the live stream chat and go and check out the channel, let them know that we've done a response video to them. Hopefully that's given enough time to the people who actually are clicking on the link to go and leave a comment, come back to this live stream and see that we're still going. But hello, Adam, and then John, go ahead.
Good afternoon.
What's up, Adam?
You're late.
The thing that scares me about this is that people don't know what science is. And what I see it is the heliocentric priesthood pouring gasoline all over themselves because they feel so confident in their own rhetoric. And we're standing over here with a match saying Earth is measured flat. This could be explosive, and I don't know what would happen because people don't know what science is. It could go wrong really quick.
Well, that's basically what happened with the whole, what's happened with the whole pandemic and all that, the COVID shit. The body of science has lost a lot of credibility with normies because, yeah, when you say people don't know what science is, normies, like people who don't have this type of discussion, right? They just use science as science is what we know, right? That's how the normal, like, that's what that lady meant when she said, here's the science. and from her perspective, she's saying there are boys, there are girls, they're not the same thing, right? So now the body of science has lost that credibility especially within the past few years, because things that we know were not being told to us, right? And then things that were just the opposite, we were being told. So all the people, like, look, people like Fauci who says, "Oh, I'm the science. I represent science," you know? Like, all these people have lost the credibility in the mainstream, right? So I'm hoping that at some point that starts to, guess what I'm saying is, I hope it starts to ripple off into this other heliocentric mainstream story, right? And go past just the medical aspect of, you know, you need to jab yourself up instead of just being healthy, you know, things like that.
Well, is it the start of a slippery slope when they start saying, oh, well, maybe he's been paid, maybe he's a shill, he's been coerced? Does that eventually lead to a realization, no, that's just what he does, let's start looking at the other things he talks about? Or will they just justify it with he's a paid shill, or he's been coerced, or he's been brainwashed, or he's under hypnosis, or he's MK Ultra, whatever the conspiratards come up with?
Yeah, you
Science.
never know. There are people
Everyone loses.
Sorry, John.
Colleges, because science has lied to us in their minds. They're all jeering now. They're all going, science lied to us. Let's burn down the college. What do we do?
Yep.
Any more for any more? Did you have something to add, Adam, or did you just join in with the after show? Maybe we'll find out in the after show. What a cliffhanger. Maybe not. With that, I'm going to say, if you are watching this on either Nathan Oakley 1980 or Nathan Oakley Premiering streams, then stay tuned, as there will be an after show to follow. Unfortunately, though, if you are watching this live, this is where we bid you farewell. So, another massive thank you to all of you. Smashed the super chat, liked, commented, shared, subscribed. Let the, whatever it's called, Rubin report know that at Nathan Oakley 1980 sent me, and all that good stuff. I've been Nathan Oakley. Stay tuned if you're watching an after show, and I'll see you all in the next video.